Evening, everyone. Welcome. This is the Town of Somers Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. The date is May 21st, 2019. Denise, would you please take the roll?
Mr. Carpenetto?
Here.
Ms. DiPolito?
Here.
Mr. Gio?
Here.
Mr. Newman?
Here.
Mr. Santoroni?
Here.
Chairman Canestra?
Here.
Thank you.
I request that everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. First item on the agenda this evening is that of Michelina, Montana. This is a renewal of an application for a special exception use permit for an existing accessory apartment on the second floor of an existing one-family dwelling located in an R40 residential district at 451 Route 202, Somers. Is someone here to represent the applicant? Yes. If you could just please come up to the microphone here. And if you could just, no, if you could go up to that microphone over there. Yes. If you could just give us your name and address.
Can I speak on her behalf?
Yes.
Or-
Is this the owner?
She's the owner. Say your name and address.
Oh, if you could just speak into the
Here,
microphone.
Oh, here.
I am Miguelina Montana,
Okay.
and my address is 451 Route 202, Somers.
Okay, and this lady can speak on your behalf? Is that okay?
My sister.
Yes, she can speak on your behalf? Is that
Yes,
okay? Okay,
yes.
thank you. Thank you.
I'll try.
Okay, so it looks like you are here for the renewal of a special exception use permit for an accessory apartment.
Yes, we are.
Okay. And where's the apartment located?
Second floor?
The second floor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have there been any changes in the apartment over the last several years? Anything significant, new renovations, enlargement, anything
No,
like that?
well, we painted and.
Just some
small little
cosmetic
but
things, but no-
Cosmetic, yes. No.
Nothing on the size? or anything
No,
like
no, no.
that? Okay. Has the building inspector been out to,
I have.
and it's meets the code requirements at this point in time?
It does.
It does, okay.
Is there any is there any occupants in there at this present time?
It is, yes.
Are they family members or just
One person,
one person? Okay.
yes.
There haven't been any complaints from the neighbors regarding noise or disruption or anything else going on in this property?
No.
No, nothing? Okay. Okay.
And the septic's been cleaned.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
And there is just this one apartment in the residence?
Yes, yes.
Second.
Well, right, there is the apartment where she lives, and then this is the
The
second.
second.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the applicant at this time? Do you have anything further to say before I go to the audience? I want to ask if there's any comments or questions.
No, I think we,
So everything is up to date, Tommy?
Yeah, they had to update the smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. I verified that.
Okay. Square footage meets the requirements, things like that? The 800 square feet?
It does.
It does, okay. Okay. All right. Is anyone here like to speak in regard to this application? Any questions, comments, concerns? No?
Nope,
Okay. Anything further from the board at this point in time?
not really.
Nope.
we good?
Ma'am, anything else? We have to vote.
Okay.
Don't go anyplace quite yet. All right, just give us another moment here.
Okay.
Okay, can we entertain a motion for the type of action? We have 2 votes to do, so.
Okay.
Type 2 action.
Second.
Mr. Carpenetto?
Aye.
Ms. DiPolito?
Aye.
Mr. Gio?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Mr. Santoroni?
Aye.
Chairman Canestra?
Aye.
Thank you.
Can we have a motion in regard to whether we're going to renew the special exception use permit?
I'd like to make a motion to grant the application for the next 7 years.
I'll second.
Mr. Carpenetto?
Aye.
Ms. DiPolito?
Aye.
Mr. Gio?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Mr. Santoroni?
Aye.
Chairman Canestra?
Aye.
Thank you.
Congratulations, your application's granted. This is for 7 years, so you'll have to come back 7 years from now if you would like to renew it.
Thank you so much.
Okay? Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
You can go. I told you, 3 seconds.
Okay, second item on the agenda this evening is that of Bernadette Carnow, Dennis and Kathleen Halligan. This is an application to amend a special exception use permit to move the existing 2-bedroom accessory apartment from the second floor to the basement, as well as an area variance because the apartment exceeds the 800 square foot limitation located in an R80 residential district at 149 Route 100, Katona. Is someone here to represent the applicant? Yes. If you could just give us your name and address and just a brief description.
Sure. My name is Ian Carnow. Address is 149 Route 100. This is Bernadette Carnow. I'll be speaking on her behalf.
Okay.
Okay?
Who are Dennis and Kathleen Halligan?
Those are Bernadette's parents.
Okay, they're co-owners on the property, I assume?
Correct.
Of some sort? Okay, fine. So maybe you could briefly describe for me what you're looking to do here.
Certainly. We have an existing 2-bedroom accessory apartment on the second floor of the residence that's been there since we purchased the house. I think we last renewed it 7 years ago. We're looking to renovate the residence now, and currently Kathy and Dennis live in that second floor apartment, and they're getting older, so we want to move them to the basement level, which is on grade. So we were looking to renovate the home and move that apartment down to the basement level and convert the second floor as part of the one-family residence. So you can see by the plans, what we've done is essentially taken that footprint of the second floor, all of those components, and moved them down into the basement, eliminating the garage and turning it into a kitchen, dining, and living area, and then taking the second floor and turning it into a bedroom area.
Sir, can you bring those plans up? Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah, if you could just post that up on the board, that'd be very helpful. Yeah. So as indicated, the left side of the plan are the existing second, first, and basement, and then the right side is the proposed.
And then there's a tabulation there showing essentially the number of bedrooms stays the same, they just move location.
So Tom, I'm sorry, just one quick question, Tom. Accessory apartments, I don't know if I've ever seen a 2-bedroom accessory apartment. Does the number of bedrooms matter for an accessory apartment? They've always been 1 bedroom as far as I can recall.
Does this hold to the 800 feet?
I'm aware there isn't a 2-bedroom. There are other 2-bedroom
There are other
accessory
2 bedrooms?
apartments, yeah.
I think the 1 bedroom, probably because they're smaller units, this is over the size for the, 800.
Right. The current existing apartment, how many square feet is that?
It is just over 1,000 square feet, 1,970.
1,000, existing second floor, 1,178. And this application has come before us before?
Yeah, it's been approved.
He's actually
previously.
up for his approval this year.
Okay, for
His
it.
renewal.
So it was approved 6.5,
Yep.
7 years ago.
With a variance for the size, I assume,
Yeah,
right?
and this is a variance for the size again. Because it does exceed the 800 square feet.
Right.
Now, how long have you been living there?
We've been there for 10 years?
No.
No. 13.
All right, because I do remember a long time ago, back in the late 70s, early 80s, a very close friend of mine rented downstairs. It was an apartment downstairs, whether or not it was legal or not, and it did have a working kitchen at the time. So is there, Tommy, is there any plumbing or anything that is pre-existing there?
I haven't been to the premises yet.
Right. The kitchen was removed when we before we purchased the house. Okay.
Do you have any idea when the house was built, if I'm not mistaken? Was it like, mid-60s?
Yeah, early 60s, 61, 62, somewhere there. I think the building permit was for 58.
Okay.
And will the square footage of the basement apartment, I assume, will be roughly the same as the existing
Yeah.
second floor?
It's,
Oh, I got you.
yeah, it's like 5 square feet more.
What is the reason for 2 bedrooms in the proposed basement apartment?
Just to maintain what they have up there now. They sleep in separate bedrooms, so.
Now, what's gonna happen, the second story you get? I mean, what is gonna be in that?
So what we'll be doing is taking the first and second floor, which are now connected by a stair. We're going to essentially sort of more normalize it, because right now the second floor acts as its own apartment, the first floor acts as an apartment. The basement is just kind of an extra space. So we would be putting the bedrooms, the existing bedrooms that are on the first floor, upstairs and turning the first floor into more of an open space.
So you have no plans to expand for a garage in the future?
No.
So it looks like the new first floor will have no bedrooms on it at all.
Correct.
You have a dining room, a living room, existing family room, some storage, office. Okay. And then all the bedrooms will go to the second floor, and it looks like it's 3 bedrooms. Is that correct on this new second floor? It would be 3 bedrooms, right? 1, 2, 3, proposed second floor. And the existing first floor only has 2 bedrooms. So we are adding a bedroom, it looks like. That's what it looks like to me, which then begs the question of Board of Health approval for the additional bedroom. Am I right on that, Tommy? I'm not sure.
We have a 5-bedroom already.
Well, I think, I guess on the table here, there's 1 bedroom listed in the basement.
We have 5 existing, 2 on the second floor, 2 on the first floor, and 1 in the basement.
Yeah.
We're moving 3 upstairs, 2 to the basement. So the total count stays the same.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, if you look
I
at
see.
the tabulation there.
Okay, so you're counting the bedroom in the basement, okay, with the first floor, which is 3, and then 3 will go to the second floor, and 2 from the second floor currently will go to 2 to the basement. Does Board of Health look at 2 bedrooms and accessory apartment differently from a 1-bedroom accessory apartment?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, I don't know either. I mean, if the house is currently approved for 5 bedrooms, I guess it's fine.
I think the concern with them is the count.
Yeah, the number of bedrooms.
They size the septic system on occupants, and they figure 2 occupants per bedroom and a certain amount of water usage per person.
Right. In the bedroom in the basement, we're gonna have 1 occupant per bedroom, so, yeah. And it's an R80 district, so it's 80,000 square feet here.
But we think that that bedroom in the basement, as it currently stands, would be a legal, it would be considered a bedroom.
Yeah, we have, we met and went through the file, and there's a health department approval for a 5-bedroom
Okay.
Oh, there is.
dwelling. There is.
Okay. And what makes a bedroom is the closet in it, right? Isn't that what really?
Privacy and reasonable access to a full bathroom. You don't need a closet in the bedroom.
You don't need a closet. Really?
Privacy.
I thought the closet was, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So privacy and access to a bedroom.
Yep, reasonable access to a full bathroom.
Okay. how do you argue or know that a family room or an office or something like that isn't really a disguised bedroom? I mean, it's just a judgment.
No, I usually would refer an applicant to the health department for their sign off on it. They may, in some instance, if they determine that family room has reasonable access and privacy, reasonable access to a full bathroom, they may require a 4 or 5 foot trimmed archway rather than a door, or some other opening which eliminates that privacy.
And changes it, okay. Would Board of Health have to approve this new plan, or not really?
The relocations of the bedroom would trigger.
Will trigger their
referral.
review of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what would determine the square footage of the accessory apartment in the basement with regard to something like a laundry room, say, which is, I assume, common to the entire house, right? Does that get does the entire basement area now get included in that square footage, or is part of it carved out?
As far as our town code goes, it's the entire space.
So even if part of it is considered common to the whole house, it's still part of that accessory apartment in the square footage?
I don't, how would,
So in other words, if they wanted to do this without a variance and get it down to 800 square feet, if they carved out a part of that basement and said this isn't part of the accessory apartment?
make it storage? Storage would be excluded from that square foot calculation. Living space, though, is within that, within those
Right.
measurements.
So the boiler laundry room, is that part of the square footage for the basement included in this accessory apartment application?
Historically, it's been looked at that way.
Yeah, okay. I also see you have something called an existing computer area. What does that mean?
Yeah, that is actually just what it was on our original approved plans, and it's just a big storage room.
Storage room, okay. Because what gives me a little bit more comfort here is, if we argue out here the computer area and the laundry room,
Right.
we're making this thing a more manageable, because, you start approving huge accessory apartments, it's like you're approving a multifamily house, another whole, living,
Right.
These apartments are supposed to be small and contained, so, yeah.
And
So, and that's probably, I'm gonna say the computer room and the laundry room, 200 square feet. Does that sound reasonable to anybody?
That might be a reasonable,
So now we're down to,
at least we're under 1,000.
Just about 183 more.
And of course, Tom, you're gonna be out there after everything is built and done to give a COO on all this, and the health department's gonna look at all this too, so.
Yeah, the referral would be done before the issuance of a building permit, because the extent of work requires a permit.
Right.
Do they stamp the plan, Tom?
They do.
I also question the proposed study being treated as a third bedroom
Where are you?
downstairs.
This one?
The proposed study here, yeah. Yeah, could that be considered even a third bedroom then? Yeah.
Why couldn't that be living area?
Because they do have a big living area over here because of the
Garage.
garage they've taken over, right? And the kitchen is in there, and the proposed living area.
yeah, I mean, if you wanted to do this within the code, you would just probably not convert the garage, leaving the rest of it as would end up being about an 800 square foot apartment.
Do you think the health department have that time? The study? Do you think they call it a bedroom?
I don't know.
Is
If,
it-
I
is
think
it
if
bonus?
anything, they would, you're talking about the proposed basement plan?
Yes.
Yeah.
They may want a 4 or 5 foot opening with no door,
Or something.
or
there
some
for
other,
that proposed study.
some other means of eliminating privacy.
And this door leaving the basement apartment, that's on ground level, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
In aggregate, we essentially, every room in the house, as it is currently configured, is still in the house in the new plan. We've really only moved things. We haven't, other than eliminating the garage, we haven't actually made any more rooms than what are here currently.
One of the things that we have to look at is what could this be?
Sure.
So if it looked like it could be a 3-bedroom apartment that you might rent on the open market, not the family,
Right.
which would bring 3 more cars to the property, and, you know, that's why we have to look at it like that.
Now, we're not, should be talking without a, lost the words here. Blueprints of the structure of the house. If they wind up removing the wall for the 2 proposed bedrooms, would it be structurally sound?
It would have to be designed. It's gonna have architectural or engineered plans for the alteration work,
Okay.
and that would be all calculated.
No, because I can see, a problem with an additional bedroom.
The basement probably looks okay, because if you look at the pre-existing basement, those walls weren't there.
Yeah.
And it was okay, so if they had to remove or do something, probably looking okay.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, and I guess the thing that, like you said, the rooms are all just moving. The one room that isn't moving is the garage. So that's that's coming out and
Yep.
being replaced by, so everything's getting larger. That was the trade for the garage, essentially.
Yeah, it was to be able to give them essentially the same living quarters that they have on the second floor in the basement. If I kept the garage there, they wouldn't have the same amount of space.
Was the previous garage just a 1-car garage, or was it double 1 deep?
No, it's just a one car.
You didn't stack the cars in there, just one?
No, just one.
And I think you mentioned you're not going to add another garage at this point in time, or?
Nope. And we're not expanding the footprint of the house at all.
Any additional questions for the applicant at this point in time? Do we want to have any further discussion on this? I mean, the size is a little bit over what, we normally see in an accessory apartment, obviously. We're supposed to limit it to 800 square feet and not keep it too far above that. I think the only way we can somewhat justify it is that we pull out this computer area and this boiler room out of the equation, it becomes somewhat more manageable.
So it's not in habitable space.
Right. You're still above, but,
Which is less than the size of the variance.
Right. Board of Health will have to look at this and approve these rooms. I certainly do see what Melissa says, that this proposed study here is,
Oh, she's right.
could very much be construed as another bedroom.
Right.
I think that's,
So it has the privacy in the whole bed.
right.
Unless it's under a certain square footage. What's the square footage, 70 square feet?
70 square foot, it's gotta be 7 foot minimum in either direction.
Right.
Because, the size of your septic is based on bedrooms. They don't care about number of bathrooms.
Certainly.
It's all bedrooms. That's what drives the Board of Health's
Right.
review of this.
When this is, if a variance is granted for the size, in 7 years, when this were to be renewed, does the variance have to be requested again? Or is it just the permit renewal?
I think it's still a variance, right?
Yeah, it'd be back in 7 years, yeah.
Right, because permit, it's kind of like
The
we
variance
start
would-
anew.
Right.
We start anew. Just like we're, just
Okay.
like now, we're starting anew. We could accept it and continue, or we could deny it, or ask for modifications,
But we wouldn't receive plans in 7 years. We wouldn't know if there had been, other
We-
than the building inspector going out.
We'd have to rely on Tom's review of the site, if there's any significant changes. There haven't been any complaints with this property or anything like that over the last 6 years regarding noise or anything like that?
Not to
or
my knowledge.
Issues, no problem. With family members, I assume everything is calm there.
So now they'd have to go for a Board of Health permit for this, right?
Before issuing a building permit for the alterations.
So Board of Health could ask for modifications if they feel that something is too close to another bedroom. Okay.
I mean, I would definitely, I would rather it wasn't so large. I don't know, that's why I was trying to get at, is there a practical way for it to not be so large?
No.
No, it's the basement, the square footage of the basement is a square footage of the basement. You can't carve a part of that out and say this isn't part of the apartment.
Right.
If
Right.
the applicant has any.
I mean, I think there's if storage space isn't counted, I would say there's a reasonable case to say that the large closet here, the boiler and laundry room, and the closet off the kitchen, which is a hot closet area, would be discounted. Probably bring it down slightly.
There's the stairs too, if you wanted to.
And there's no separate, there's no separate entrance here? They would enter through the main house?
There is an entrance right here off the
Oh, there is.
Bottom of the plan.
the bottom of the
Yeah,
plan,
yeah.
bottom middle.
Right by the stairs is a,
Right. So currently, when you enter in the lower level, you can walk up the stairs to the first floor, and then there's another set of stairs from the first floor up.
any finished basement, I believe, has to have two means of egress. Two doors, right, one out and then one up into the house. That's my understanding.
Depends on what code you're looking at.
No, really?
It's changed over the years.
But generally, it's two, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Unless you have a bedroom, then each sleeping area needs to have an egress to meet a certain criteria from it directly to the exterior.
Oh, really?
So in this case, you'd have three. The code would require three,
Oh, really?
today's.
What's their, okay, today's,
One from each bedroom and then the door to the exterior.
would the windows act as the means of egress?
In the sleeping areas, in the bedrooms.
In the
yes.
bedrooms, that would be another way to get out of the
Yes.
Right. So if they didn't have windows to these bedrooms, they'd be stuck, right? They couldn't do this.
I wouldn't issue a permit.
You wouldn't issue a permit, okay, you have to have a window there,
Yeah.
right? It can't be underground, because you'd be trapped then. Okay.
Then each of those areas having windows could be additional rooms.
Yeah.
Can we wait till the Board of Health approves this thing before
Well, Tommy would issue a permit.
he issued the permit?
No, he would not issue a permit.
I mean, it's pending the board's decision to propose all the, I don't know what the applicant would do if you don't approve it. Maybe he'll stick with the original and just go for renewal with that. I don't know.
Correct.
But, right, because if we don't approve it, you can't issue a permit, and then the Board of Health can't review it yet, because they want to see that you've basically are ready to go with it, right? That you have a final set of plans, right?
The applicant would have to get an approval from this board and then submit a set of plans. And I have to actually give him a letter to accompany the plans for the Board of Health review process. And
They're
then
not
it
gonna-
comes back to me stamped, at which time I could
Yeah.
issue a building permit.
Board of Health isn't going to look at just a floor plan and approve it before we all look at it.
They might. They might.
What does everybody think?
I was under question that, you know, you go to the Board of Health and get their approval, then you go to the town hall, to the building inspector, with all the paperwork, you know, required to get a permit.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, but there's two prior approvals required in this instance, this board's and the health department's. So which one goes first, I guess it doesn't really matter.
It could go either way. Because theoretically, the health department, I guess, could require a change in the plans here.
Yeah,
They-
it's possible.
They probably would on that study,
You think they would?
yeah, for sure.
So they will say that proposed study, it could be turned into a bedroom door easily. I
Take
do
the
have a
wall
problem with that,
down. Take out the wall.
the third bedroom that is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, proposed study.
Does the board think we should have the Department of Health take a look at this first before we proceed?
I agree.
I prefer, I'm not inclined to vote in favor as is today, so if the Board of Health wants to give their recommendations.
And is that based on size, generally?
Based on size, I'm
Bedrooms.
just uncomfortable with the vastness, and I feel like it can be done in a lesser means, keeping the garage and condensing the accessory into the existing living space without creating additional living space. With the variance, we're supposed to have the least, amount of changes, and I just don't see this as the least intrusive.
That's a good call, I think. That's a good call.
Okay. So it sounds like the board, do we have a consensus that we think that Board of Health approval should be obtained first? They should put an eye on this, and then we'll go from there?
I agree.
I think so.
Does everybody agree with that? Okay. So I think that's going to be our recommendation at this point in time,
Okay?
that you take these plans to the Department of Health, let them approve it. They may or may not make revisions, that's up to them, but we certainly think they very well might. And then I guess we would look at a revised plan at that point in time.
Okay. As proposed or less space? You know, the referral has to go to them, they go back to them again if the board decides that they want the applicant to keep the garage space to reduce the square footage of the entire apartment.
I would say as the proposal is to us at this present time.
You'd be willing to accept it the way it is? I
Yes.
mean, I do notice, of course, that the kitchen is in the new garage also.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, I think to be fair to the applicant, I mean, you're hearing the concerns. So if the Board of Health were to approve this as is or with slight modifications, I think there's still going to be a lot of similar concerns here on the size.
I mean, our concern is making sure that, you know, currently they're living on the second floor in essentially the exact same amount of space as I'm asking for in the basement. They don't want to reduce the amount of living space that they have. So the whole purpose of this is to get them better and easier access to the apartment that they're living in. If that's not going to happen, or if it's only going to happen by significantly reducing the amount of space, then I wouldn't bother to go forward with the plans, because the entire purpose is to take what they have on the second floor and give them better access. So if that's not achievable, then there would be no point in me going to the Board of Health to get a reduced floor plan in place to come back. I would only want to proceed if I could do the plan that I have.
So it's the full square footage or nothing for you?
Well, yeah, because otherwise they can remain on the second floor in what they have.
I mean, like I said, I think there's a mitigating factor in that we have this boiler laundry room and this existing computer area that we may be able to argue we can pull that out, and we're under 1,000 square feet. Still bigger than we normally would approve, but I don't know what Board of Health's gonna do with that study there, I don't know.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so I think we're definitely all in agreement that we think the Board of Health should take a look at this.
Yes.
Just the question is, if the Board of Health approves this as is, are we then prepared to say to the applicant, okay, Board of Health has approved it, we would accept this plan?
Yeah, I would.
And the Board of Health is only going to be saying what is or what isn't a bedroom.
You're gonna give us a count.
Right.
Right, if they say that is considered a third bedroom, then the applicant is gonna have to redesign the plan, I don't know, increase rooms, but he's gotta get rid of one of the bedrooms then, somehow. Maybe keep the same overall footprint, but interior, you're gonna have to move walls or do what you gotta do.
Likely, I would remove the door and the wall that segregate that,
The proposed study area,
Right.
just kinda have it,
I would just remove this door and this wall and that be a.
and have it open.
Area.
Right. So if the applicant then gets that requirement from the Board of Health, then the plan will come back to us deleting that wall and door, shall we say, just as an example. And then we would have to be prepared to, are we then prepared to approve?
If I were you, I'd go down there with 2 sets of plans. Take this one and take the new one.
So they can stamp either one they want.
That's right, yeah, so save some time.
They require that, 2 sets.
Okay. No, at the same time, he has 2 sets.
Two different sets.
Two different sets.
Oh, okay.
He's saying
Save some time.
one set with the wall, one set without.
I got it.
Just so they could stamp either one to save you a trip down there again.
And I put a quarter, that this one's not gonna fly.
Yeah, it's probably not. I definitely see what you mean, yeah. So,
So we're all,
I think, are we all fairly in agreement then?
Yes.
Board of Health approval?
Yep.
And then if it comes back with their changes, we're probably willing to accept the floor plan as is?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm
Yes.
hearing, maybe?
Yes.
Or do we still think, I mean, it's still bigger, but,
It's
The
still
code's
bigger.
not clear as to habitable space, right, Tom?
I'm sorry?
The code's not clear as to what's habitable space and what's not, as far as the square footage that you can have.
Yeah, it is. It is. It doesn't, it defines habitable space from not habitable space. The-
In the zoning code.
Oh, no, the state codes define it.
Right.
Not, zoning doesn't address that.
Oh, she did.
so the square footage here includes this boiler and laundry room and the existing computer area.
That's the way it's been
That's the
done.
way it is right now, yeah. It's kind of like right in the center of
I
everything.
could probably interpret it differently, but from what I'm accustomed to seeing.
Yeah, you're just trying to be as
Yeah.
conservative as possible here and give us the gross numbers, right?
But for example, if you were to cut this garage in half and the front part of the, with no access to the house from the front part of the garage, that was still external access, you could say that that was not included in the square foot.
Correct.
That proposed living area, it's like
Or if the
a
garage
shed.
were to remain as it is, it would not be part of,
Correct.
right? And that would be a slam dunk approval from this board, I would think, because it would be within the square footage in the code.
Just cut out that proposed living area there, or the whole
Wow.
garage?
The living area gets you halfway there, and the whole
Right.
thing gets you all, if they weren't, the whole thing, you don't even have to come before this board for the variance. I mean, there is no variance at that point if you get to the 800 square feet.
Yeah, they have to move the kitchen someplace else.
Yeah.
right?
I think if it goes to the Board of Health and we see the proposed study eliminated and the existing office space turned into storage, I would be inclined to approve if the Board of Health was okay with that.
And we have approved this in the past at this size, so.
Yeah.
That's, I think I might agree with that. Okay, so we've given the applicant some direction then, so we want to
Yeah,
go
go to
Board of
Board of
Health,
Health.
depending on what they say, I can't guarantee it, but it seems like the board might be inclined then to approve the plan as is with whatever modifications the Board of Health would require.
And if the Board of Health approves the plan as is,
Then we'll be okay.
Are
Okay.
you okay with it, Tom? I know it's big, you know.
Okay.
It definitely is an outlier as far as apartments go.
I mean,
Because most of the apartments are 800 square feet or less. There's no question
right,
about it.
right.
Well, it's still gonna come to a vote before the
Right.
vote, so we'll still
Right.
reserve our
Right.
opinion for that.
Right.
I
Yeah,
just think it's tough to kind of take the space away from the applicant, because they're once approved, you know?
right.
So the problem I have is that.
And, you know, it could still be used as a bedroom, just because if the Board of Health says it's not a bedroom, and the situation in this house changes, and that were to be rented to tenants, then you could have 3 tenants and 3 bedrooms.
Keep in mind, though, too, if they do sell the property,
Right.
the permit, the new owner has to come before us.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, so is that the guidance we're going to give?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, the next item on the agenda this evening is that of Roddy Icovino and Dawn Henze. This is an application for side yard area variance of 3 feet for a sunroom alteration, I'm sorry. No altercations are allowed. For a sunroom alteration, as well as a side yard area variance of 5 inches. Is that correct? I am reading that correctly? For an existing principal dwelling, as a recent survey reveals, to an existing one-family dwelling located in an R40 residential district at 39 David Road in Somers. Sir, if you could just give us your name and address.
My name is Bob Eberts, and I'm from Cross River Architects, and I'm representing Dawn Henze and Roddy Icovino. They own the property at 39 David Road, and their application is for 3-foot side yard variance. It's an R40 zone. There's a 30-foot side yard requirement. They're requesting 27 feet on a sunroom structure. And the existing house, actually, as we found, sits within the 30-foot setback. It sits 29.6 feet away from the property line. So we're asking you to variance the existing house as well, so that they don't have any problem when they go to sell that property.
That 5 inches, is that part of the original house?
Yes.
Just a-
Yes, I'll explain on the map if it's okay with you.
Sure, go right ahead.
I'll take this.
Just bring the microphone with you. Yes, thank you.
This is a 1:20 map, but I've just blown it up for your purposes. Can you see that? This is a 1:10 scale. And this red line is the 30-foot line. Now, currently on the property, this is the single-family residence. The property slopes to the back, so it's a single-story house from the front yard. But if you go around back, the basement is exposed, so you have the 2 stories. The garage goes under the, in at the basement level, underneath the first floor level. There's a large deck on the back of the house. It's 10 feet by about 30 feet long, and there's a screened porch that's 10 feet by 13 feet in this corner. Now, the edge of the existing screened porch is set back 1 foot 6 inches from the corner of the house right now. Now, when we looked at the original survey, we found that the corner of this house was shown to be 30.15 feet away from the property line. And so although they wanted a full 20-foot interior dimension on their proposed sunroom to fit their furniture, they were willing to give away a little bit so they didn't have to come for a variance. However, I advised them that they hire a surveyor and mark that 30-foot line because they were going to be very, very close to it. They wanted to be right up against that 30 feet. Well, lo and behold, when the surveyor came out, said the original survey is wrong. And that was a surprise to us. We had no idea.
Sure.
My guess is that what happened is that the survey was done as an as-built, but it was probably somebody never went out there and verified the exact location of the house, many years ago when the house was built. And in fact, it was built a little bit closer and a little bit more of an angle to the side property line. So as a result, the existing house sat within that 30 feet, and the sunroom, the existing, screen porch, existing screen porch sat within that area as well. So they said, well, if we've got to come back for variance, let's get the whole 20 feet interior dimension that we'd like for our furniture, so it'll fit better in there. And we've taken that sunroom now out to the edge of the house. And that's where we end up with the now 3 feet rather than something a little bit smaller. It also comes out 13.4 rather than the original 10 feet. So it sticks out a little bit further from the house, as you can see. And that's how we end up with the 2 variances we're discussing. So it was really a happenstance, of finding out the original survey was incorrect.
How old is the house?
I can't tell you that exactly. I could look at the original survey and see if there was a date on it. I have it with me.
We've seen it before, but it's mentioned in different surveys. Well, just that's,
I don't see a date on the original survey. I'm sorry. It was done by Richard Gore.
Approximately how old the house is?
I would say it was probably built in the 70s is my guess.
Okay.
It's that type of style that I would put there, and you can see that there's some weathering on the siding. It's a T111 siding. It's weathered considerably, so that would be a good guess, I think.
Looks like there's a masonry stone retaining wall that just goes a tad over the property line there.
That's correct.
Yeah.
It does, and the corner of the driveway actually sticks, just a couple inches into the neighboring property. Now, I would like to note that the neighbor is very much in favor of this proposal. That they wrote a letter to you, and she's
I haven't seen
supporting
that
the
letter, no.
proposal.
The neighbor on that side of the
The
house.
neighbor on that side, yes.
Okay. And how close is their house to to the property line here?
I would say they've got a 30 feet again.
They're
again,
at least
the
30 feet away.
So it's about 60 feet between the.
Okay.
But neither survey showed that. So just a guess on my part. I didn't survey that.
And of course, that neighbor would have been notified of this pending application before us, and yeah, if you have a letter, I'd certainly like to see it.
And so the 3 feet would only be at the edge of that,
At the extreme point
Proposed.
of that sunroom, yes. Yeah, tapering down to.
to the 5 inches, essentially.
Right, down to the 5 inches, correct. We do not feel this presents an undesirable change to the neighborhood. It's in the back of the house. It's improving, I think, the look. The screen porch is somewhat aged. They're also replacing the existing deck. The variance I don't feel is substantial. It's 3 feet where 30 feet, so it's a relatively small variance, I believe. And I believe that this is self-created, but it's kind of a combination of what they want versus the unusual survey situation where there's a new and existing conflict in the survey. So, this can be sought in another manner by reducing the sunroom, but again, it fits their furniture. They'd need a variance anyway, so I think it's a reasonable ask to past that 20 feet. We can't push it any further because there's a fireplace there, so that would impede on the use of the room.
I'd just like to make mention for the record that we do have a letter here from Lori Chambers at 41 David Road, who is the neighbor. And she does conclude the letter with, "I strongly recommend that the board vote to approve the variance." So. So I assume the property slopes towards the back because we have a retaining wall here?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, it continues to slope the entire length of the property
Right.
to the back.
We don't have a topo here, but with the retaining wall, it looks like it must slope down. So.
Yes, and again, the first floor is just exposed on the front, and then the basement is exposed on the back, so that, further indicates the slope of the property to the rear.
Any additional questions of the applicant?
No.
I'd ask for comments from the audience, but since there's nobody here, we're not going to have any of those. Any further discussion the board wants to have in regard to this? No. I mean, with the neighbor kind of to the north seeming to be totally in agreement with it, I think the variance is minor.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I have a problem with this. Okay. Sir, did you have any other comments or questions at this point in time?
No, I think that's all. Thank you.
Are we prepared to vote on this application?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Entertain a motion for the type of action?
2.
Second?
Mr. Carpenetto?
Aye.
Ms. DiPolito?
Aye.
Mr. Gio?
Aye.
Mr. Santoroni? I'm
Aye.
sorry, Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Mr. Santoroni? Hello?
Yes.
Thank you. Chairman Canestra?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, can we have a motion as to whether we're going to accept or deny the application?
I'll make a motion to accept the application as proposed.
Second.
Mr. Carpenetto?
Aye.
Ms. DiPolito?
Aye.
Mr. Gio?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Mr. Santoroni?
Aye.
Chairman Canestra?
Aye.
Thank you.
Congratulations, sir, your application has been granted.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Tommy, nothing's back? Surveys?
Yeah, we can provide the surveys back, since they are stamped, and I'll give you the letter back also, Denise, for the file. Okay. Last item on the agenda is approval of the April 16, 2019 minutes. Has everybody had a chance to review them?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to approve by voice consensus. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. Okay, we're going to approve the April 16th, 2019 minutes. I will make mention that our next meeting is June 11th, 2019. We usually meet on the third Tuesday of every month. We're meeting on the second Tuesday in that this room is occupied by, I believe, tax grievances. So we'll see everybody then June 11th, Tuesday, 2019. Any other issues we have to discuss? Any other questions, concerns, problems? No? Okay, we're going to end the meeting then. Good night, everyone, and thank you. Have a good evening.